I've combined all 17 short videos into one complete experience video, covering both photography and videography. I've carefully organized the topics by difficulty level, so you can follow along and grow your creative skill step by step. In the video description below, you'll find a timeline with each topic labeled, making it easy to jump to that section you want to focus on. Photography using smartphones. If you want to get into photography but you don't know where to begin with, start with your smartphone. Smartphones these days have high resolution camera and different features like night mode, HDR and portrait mode. In general, phones today can capture good quality, both photos and videos. You can even use them in big projects. But before we start our episodes, try to follow these settings in your phone. So first go to settings, choose camera. At the moment focus on grid and level. In each episode, I'll be explaining what other options do. So once you're done with grid and level, go to formats and choose high efficiency. Once you're done with those settings, I'll see you in the upcoming videos. Ever wondered why photographers always have a perfect balance from top to bottom? The answer is rule of third. Rule of third is about imaginary line you can find on your screen when you take photos. 2 verticals and 2 horizontals. So for example, whenever you go outside and you want to take a photo, make sure one of the thirds is covered with sky and 2/3 land or ground, or vice versa. 2/3 sky and 1/3 land. Try not to focus on the intersections here. Try to focus on the 3 rows. Want to make your outdoor photos more interesting? Add human elements. Adding a person to your landscape photos create a sense of scale, story, and connection. It helps viewer feels like they're part of the scene. In our previous video, I asked you to focus only on thirds. Now, try to focus on the intersection where you're gonna place your human element. If the person is walking from left to right, you're gonna have to place the person in this intersection. It guides the viewer to see what's happening on this side, and vice versa. But for me, I always put the person in the center, walking towards the landscape, so you, as a viewer, will able to see the photo in general. If you want a grid on your screen, I already explained this in the previous videos. So next time you're shooting outdoors, include the person in your frame. It tells a story. And that's human element. Here's a trick to make your photos more dynamic. Leading lines are natural or man-made lines in the scene that guides the viewer's eye to the subject. In this case, human element. You can find them almost anywhere around you. It can be road or footsteps or river. Anything that leads towards the subject of the photo. For me, whenever I find any leading lines, I always put the human element in the center, so I see balance in the picture. Next time you're out, look for leading lines to guide your viewer's eye and add depth to your photos. And that's leading line. Let's talk about framing. It's almost the same concept as leading lines, where the viewer's eye guided to focus on a certain point in the picture. When you are outdoor, whether in the nature or in the city, you will find objects around you that can frame your picture. Not necessarily closed frame. It could be leaf or branches or something else. If not, try bringing items with you, like a small frame from a picture or a UV filter from a camera. The last option will be another phone, where you can use it as a frame. These things can help you frame your photos. Try to experiment with them, and you will see the difference between framing and without. And that's framing. Let's talk about composition. Great composition isn't just about choosing one rule. It's about combining them to create powerful images. In the previous video, we talked about different rules, such as rule of third, human element, leading line, and framing. Once you practice each of these rules, you can start combining them to create a great photo. For example, human element with leading line, or human element with framing, or the 3 of them, human element, leading line, framing. So next time you take photos, try combining different compositions. Now that you practice taking different photos using different techniques on your phone, I'm sure you want to edit your photos to make them better. Let's start with built-in photo app. It's free and allows you to make basic adjustments like cropping, color correction, and exposure tweaks. But if you want more editing option, there is an app called Visco. It offers presets you can choose from, along with general editing tools. You can unlock more options by subscribing monthly or annually. The last app I want to talk about is Lightroom. It requires monthly or annual subscription, but it offers more advanced editing tool. It's the go-to app for most photographers today. So whether you're a beginner or looking to take your editing to the next level, these apps have something for everyone. Want to have photos like these? Here are 3 simple tips to improve your photography. Always shoot in soft light, either on sunrise or before sunset, and avoid noontime, as it produces harsh light and plain colors. Keep the background simple and clean to minimize distraction to the viewers. Keep your edit simple when you're editing. Don't overcolor your photos. Bonus tip, always clean your phone's lens, as it might have grease or oil from your hands. Let's talk about portrait mode. Portrait mode uses software to blur the background, creating a shallow depth of field. Here's the difference between portrait mode and without. To use this feature, select portrait mode the next time you take a photo. Once you've taken the photo, tap on the picture and tap the settings icon at the bottom. Tap the F icon at the top of the screen. This allows you to adjust the shallow of depth of field by swinging left or right. Once you're happy with your choice, tap done, and there you have it. Next time you take a picture of a person or objects, choose portrait mode. Let's talk about low light photography. iPhone these days has the ability to capture shots in low light, thanks to night mode. To enable it, simply tap the night mode icon at the top of the screen when you are in a dark place. For the best result, hold your phone steady for a couple of seconds when you take the photo. If you want an even longer exposure, place your phone on a tripod. This allows you to extend the night mode up to 30 seconds. It's perfect for really dark place. Let's talk about frame rate. Whether you're making content for social media or just capturing memories, understanding frame rates and resolution is key to get best results. Frame rates refers to how many frames per second your video records. Your phone offers 24, 25, 30 and 60 frames per second. But what is the difference? 24 frames per second, this is cinematic standard. It gives that classic feel-like motion and is often used in movies and high-quality content. 25 frames per second is common in Europe and PAL regions and mostly used in TV broadcasts in the UAE and most of the Middle East. 30 frames per second is standard for online contents. It provides smoother motion, making it great for vlogs, social media, and general recording. 60 frames per second is a higher frame rate that provides extra smooth motion. I use it more often because it keeps me ready for any video I want to shoot. And I don't need to worry what type of content it is, since I can control the rate later. So which one should you use? If you want cinematic look, go for 24 frames per second. For smooth and natural motion, 30 frames per second is the best option. If you are in PAL region and you want to use your content in TV broadcast, use 25 frames per second. If you want flexibility in post-production, 60 frames per second is a great choice. Now let's talk about resolution. HD versus 4K. What's the difference? Resolution refers to the amount of detail in your video. Your phone gives you options like 1080p, which is HD, and 4K. 1080p or HD is a great choice for social media and quick edits, and can save storage space. 4K offer much higher detail, great for professional looking videos and cinematic shots, and future-proofing your content. The downside is it takes up more storage space and requires more powerful device to edit. Final tip, if you're shooting for YouTube or professional content, 4K at 24 frames per second is the great choice for you. For Instagram, TikTok and casual videos, 1080p or HD at 30 frames per second is a great choice. Always ensure you have good lighting and stable shots. Resolution and frame rate won't matter if your video is shaky and poorly lit. And that's a quick intro videography on your phone. Experiment with different settings and see what works best for you. Let's talk about slow motion. One of the coolest tricks in video to add drama or just make things look awesome. Now, when it comes to slow motion, you've got options like 60 frames per second, 120 and 240 frames per second. 60 frames per second is great because it's the only one that gives you 4K resolution. So if you want that crisp, cinematic quality and slow motion at the same time, 60 frames per second is the option for you. 120 and 240 frames per second are where things get extra smooth. You can slow things down even more, but you'll be working only with HD. not 4K. Pro tip, use slow motion for short clips. You don't need to shoot your whole video in slow motion, just like the key moments. Most camera or editing apps let you choose which part you can slow things down, so you can film at a higher frame rate. Then later you decide when to activate the slow motion part. Let's talk about time-lapse and hyperlapse. Let's start with time-lapse. This is where you keep your phone still, maybe on tripod or stable surface. Perfect for capturing those moments where the world slowly changes, like sunrise or sunset. Now hyperlapse. Instead of staying still, you move from point A to point B while still focusing on the subject. It adds a whole new dynamic, like pulling the viewer into the scene. Start with time-lapse to understand light, timing, and stability. Then level up to hyperlapse. Practice smooth movements, focus lock, and try to keep your subject centered. Your smartphone is powerful more than you think. Just slow things down to speed things up. Today we're talking about how to create stories with your videos. In this video, I'm going to show you a simple way to capture moments by breaking them down into 4 easy categories, just like clothing size: small, medium, large, and extra. Small shots or close-up shots, the little things that bring the scenes into life. Medium is your normal shots, shots that feel natural, showing people or objects at a comfortable size. Large is the big picture, beautiful shots that set the scene and tell us where we are. And finally, extra is where you add movements like time-lapse or hyperlapse to give your story a sense of time, change, and energy. Mixing these 4 together makes your video feel more complete, like real story, not just random clips. In the next video, I'll show you some apps to edit your videos. Let's talk about editing apps.
The world doesn't wait, so I chase it.
The first one I want to talk about is Edits, released by Meta. It has all the tools you need to edit your video. Also, it comes with the ready filters that we use on Instagram. The feature I like about in this app is the green screen, where you can change the background, any background you like. It's very nice and futuristic. Next up is CapCut. This gives you more flexibility and creative freedom. The feature I like about in this app is Match Cut, which lets you sync your edit perfectly with the beat of your music. One thing people notice is the watermark on the video. But here's a tip. You can actually remove it in the settings before you edit. Moving on, I want to talk about Final Cut Pro X. I've been using this one for almost 10 years. It's beginner friendly, easy to navigate, and perfect for desktop editing. Whether you're working on a simple vlog or a full-scale production, Final Cut has the tools to support it. And last, I want to talk about DaVinci Resolve Studio. This is the software I use today. And the reason I made the switch from Final Cut to DaVinci, it makes collaboration so much easier. Whether you're working with other editors who use Premiere or Final Cut, DaVinci handles cross-platforms, workflows like a pro. Also powerful enough for both social media content and high-end production work. In conclusion, there is editing apps out there for every skill level. Whether you're just getting started or working on big projects, there's definitely a tool made for you. Let's talk about cinematic mode. This feature creates a blurry or foggy background, helping your viewer focus more on the subject you choose, like a person's face. It works both front camera and the main camera, giving you creative control no matter how you shoot. You can adjust how strong the blur is by tapping the F icon and swipe left or right. Once you're happy with the level of background blur, you're ready to hit record and capture your cinematic moments. But here's the best part. Even after recording, in case you change your mind, you can still edit the level of the background blur by tapping settings on the bottom of the screen. Simply from there, swipe left or right. Once you're happy with your edit, tap done on the top right corner. It's a powerful tool that gives your videos a polished, professional look, all from your phone. Here are some tricks for your iPhone videography. If you know how to edit your videos on your computer, use an external SSD when you're filming with your iPhone 15 or above. Just tap ProRes at the top left of your screen. Plug your SSD using a USB-C type cable. This saves a lot of storage because the clips go straight to the SSD. To check if it's working, look for a little icon USB-C at the bottom of the screen when you connect the cable. And by the way, you can even use an SD card, the one you use for the camera, or even a micro SD, the one you use for the action camera. To see if it's working, you can see the little icon USB-C on the bottom of your screen. Just keep in mind the recording duration will be less compared to using an SSD. Use action mode to reduce shakiness. Turn on action mode. You'll find it at the top right of the screen. Just tap it and the icon will turn into yellow. Keep in mind that it slightly crops the frame to stabilize the footage, but the result is much steadier video, even when you're on the move. Be mindful with the sound. Here's an underrated tip. Stay as quiet as possible while filming. Especially watch out for the sound of your own breathing. Audio and ambience are half of the visual experience. They help make the viewer feel like they are in the scene. Bonus tip: if you want to keep your camera setting every time you film or take a photo, go to Settings, Camera, Preserve Settings. There you can turn everything on. It will turn into green. Or choose specific settings you want to save by tapping the buttons and they will turn to gray. This will help you stay consistent and save time while shooting. In the next video, I'll be talking about how to create contents with the camera. So make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.